some differing points of view on this around the community, and even the vote yesterday certainly wasn't unanimous, 9-6. And a number of people around the community are still very skeptical about this. I want to bring John Best, the publisher of the Bay Observer, who's been following this story, well, since day one. John, welcome back to the program. First of all, were you surprised by the vote yesterday?
Not at all, Bill. I think the this thing probably got on a path towards becoming reality, dating back to shortly after it was canceled. Within 2 months of that, they put together a committee to provide the government with some solutions that obviously were going to be something other than cancellation. And then, of course, the big one was when Catherine McKenna came in with her $1.7 billion. That, you just heard Lloyd. It's tough to, even though there are people that still believe there's only one taxpayer, there's still that sense that if it's coming from another level of government, that somehow that's free money. So no, I mean there's clearly been some very, very heavy lobbying that went on here, and so we are where we are.
Is the debate over?
Well, I don't think the debate, I guess it depends on who's doing the debating.
Yeah.
From a media standpoint, I think our responsibility is to continue to provide as much background and as much information as possible to the public. We're not here to, driving outcomes. That's for the politicians. They have the power and they have the access to money. But there's all kinds of questions about this project. Not the least of which is, again, if you saw the Spectator this morning, Catherine McKenna, the great Hamiltonian, weighing in on that she's saying more affordable housing along the LRT corridor is a condition of federal funding. So I've already fired off a question to her office. How much affordable housing would be a minimum threshold? Is the minister talking affordable housing or social housing? Because if you're talking affordable housing, the current definition is 125% or less of the average market price. And if you're talking Hamilton, you're looking at $1,500 for a studio. Mm-hmm. So that qualifies as affordable housing. Who's going to pay for the affordable housing, I asked. Will any of the $1.7 billion proposed by either Ontario or Infrastructure Canada be expected to be used for this purpose? It'll be interesting to get an answer to that. And then how is this so-called condition going to be monitored or enforced? Is it going to be written into the MOU that Hamilton will be signing? So, those are some of the questions. And what I've sort of found, and we also saw with the downtown precinct bill, that politicians seem to have learned that they can promote even the most inappropriate spending projects by inserting the words affordable housing. And some of the bloggers have pointed out, in the case of the downtown precinct, we might be talking about 24 affordable units, and then you go back to the other issue, how do you define affordable? And it may not be that affordable and for people that are actually struggling financially.
Yeah, I know that may sound like some people are parsing words, but I mean, there's affordable and then there's affordable. I mean, there are people that are homeless right now. There are people that, are on fixed incomes. There's a lot going on here. You can also, these days, John, make an argument that housing's not very affordable for too many people at all now, simply because of the way the prices have gone up in the last year and a half. So, it's a rather loose definition. The other element, and the question about that is, at what point is that housing going to be built? Is it going to be, are they going to monitor this as they're building the LRT? Is it going to come 5 years after, 10 years after? We don't know at this stage, do we?
We don't know much of anything about this, but you throw in the word affordable housing, and that in Hamilton appears to be enough to win over those who purport to speak for the poor and the marginalized. I mean, this thing, to my mind, if you actually, we got 2 or 3 members on council that are constantly talking about marginalized people. To me, this project will only serve to gentrify the poorest parts of our city and drive more and more people away. And, it's not just people that are on social assistance and those kind of supports. I mean, we're building a whole underclass of people that are simply not going to be able to afford to get into the housing market. These will be what we used to call working poor. It's going to be, there's really a major housing crisis looming, Bill. And I know we're a little off topic, but since affordable housing was introduced by the minister, I think it's fair to discuss it.
Let me ask you, I got a minute left here, but I want a prediction from you here. A very controversial subject, 9-6 vote. There are some people that are just dead set against this on council, and they're not going to be swayed. And I was hearkening back, actually, to Lloyd Ferguson's brother, Murray, who was on Ancaster Council around 2000 during amalgamation. And Murray was dead set against it. I mean, vocal against it. This is the worst possible thing the government could do. It was forced on us anyway, as we know. And he was elected to this new council. And he told me, he says, I think it sucks. I think it's the wrong thing to do, but it's now my job to make it work. And that's what I'm going to do. And I think Brad Clark made a comment similar to that at the meeting yesterday as well. Are the people that are opposed to this simply going to say, okay, it's over, I'm sorry we lost that, but it's over, or is this fight going to continue?
I think there's a certain inevitability built into the project now, and we are going to have to make it work. The only issue, I think, is how much money it's going to cost, because to really make this work, they're going to have to roll out the blast system, and that was going to be reliant on a certain amount of money from senior governments, and so we're in for $3.4 billion. We really, if they want this thing to succeed, they have to roll out the blast system, and that's extra money. That's the big garage for all the buses and so on. So, yeah, I mean, there will be a point, where we have to do whatever we have to do to make LRT work, and it's just to involve a lot more money, and somebody's going to pay for it down the road.
John Best at the Bay Observer. As always, John, thanks for this. Great talking with you again today.
You're welcome, Bill.